Okay, so today's topic is esophagus. Now, in the last lecture, we have all completed about the abdominal cavity, and now we'll be proceeding towards the esophagus. So, what is esophagus? Esophagus is the part which is lying above the stomach, and it is the one which is connecting the buccal cavity to the stomach. So, it is like a muscular canal or a pipe which is connecting in order to like bring in food and all the liquid materials from the mouth towards the stomach. Okay, so So, esophagus lies in between the pharynx and the stomach, and its total length is 2.25 centimeters. Important. The place where esophagus pierces the diaphragm. Important. The esophagus pierces the diaphragm. I'm sorry. It is called as esophageal hiatus. That area is what it is called as. It is called as esophageal hiatus. And where is esophageal hiatus present? It is present at the T10 vertebrae. Important for MCQs. So the place where esophagus pierces the diaphragm, where it pierces the diaphragm, and it is called as esophageal hiatus at the level of T10 vertebrae. Okay, so as in this diagram, you can see that this is the pharynx, and from here starts the esophagus. It is bringing in the entire liquid and food material into the stomach. And this place where the esophagus is piercing this diaphragm is known as the esophageal hiatus. Clear? Now, so we'll see what is the abdominal part of the esophagus. So it turns left from the median plane of the body towards the stomach. So, where is the esophagus lying? It is lying towards the left hand side from the median plane of the body towards the stomach. So, imagine this is the median plane of the body, okay, and this is the mouth. So, from here it is starting and it is taking a left turn like this. Clear? So this is how the esophagus is formed. Okay, fine. Moving on further. The length of the esophagus in the abdominal part is how much? 2.5 centimeters. How much it is? It is 2.5 centimeters. And the entire length of the esophagus is 25 centimeters. Only 2.5 part is 2.5 centimeter part is lying in the abdominal cavity. Rest is present in the above abdominal cavity. Okay, now there is a special thing about esophagus that the veins of the esophagus drain partly into systemic circulation and partly into portal circulation. So this is for portal and this is for systemic. So portal में क्या होता है? Esophageal veins which are in contact with gastric veins drain into portal vein. So the esophageal veins which are in contact with the gastric veins, they all drain into portal vein. But the esophageal veins which are not in contact with the gastric vein are draining into hemizygous containing into वेना एजाइगस एंड सुपीरियर वेना कवल वेन्स एंड जो इस वेन्स में ड्रेन करते हैं दैट इज नोन एज सिस्टेमिक वेन दिस इज नोन एज पोर्टल वेन सो हेंस it is an important site of portosystemic anastomosis. Now what does the term anastomosis means over here is a area where all of the their arteries or veins sorry, where arteries and veins are just coming together and forming a web-like structure that is known as the area of anastomosis. So this is portal. Okay, here the portal system and the systemic system veins are being connected. Hence, this is known as portosystemic anastomosis. Here in this diagram, this is the azygous vein. This is the esophagus and this is the stomach. So esophageal and gastric veins, and a part of the esophageal vein which is draining into azygous vein, and other veins which are mentioned over here, azygous and superior vena cava. So all of the anastomosis is occurring over here. This area is known as the site of anastomosis, and this is known as portosystemic anastomosis. Okay. Now, how is the esophagus actually being placed on the in the body? So it has a connection with the liver. This is the liver, and this is the anterior surface of the liver, and इसके पीछे जो रहेगा that will be the posterior surface of the inferior surface of the liver. The liver actually lies like a wedge like structure. It is not like it appears, but it is placed slantingly in the body. During dissection you'll come to know. So this is the liver, and below surface is known as the inferior surface. Okay, this is the superior surface. Now the esophagus runs towards the left hand side of the median plane, which we have seen earlier, and it passes into the inferior surface of the left lobe of the liver. This is the left lobe of the liver, and this is the right lobe of the liver. So the esophagus passes inferior on the inferior surface of the lesser lobe, to the left lobe of the liver, and ends by opening into the cardiac part of the stomach at the vertebrae. Which vertebrate it is lying to? So it is lying at the T11 vertebrae. It's not visible over here. It is at T11 vertebrae, and the notch is present here, and that notch is known as the cardiac notch. The peritoneum covers the esophagus only anteriorly and on the left side. Important. The peritoneum covers the esophagus only and only anteriorly and on the left hand side. Anterior gastric veins contain mainly the left vagal fibers, and the posterior gastric nerves contain the left right vagal fibers. Let's look further. Then, what is the histology of the liver? So whenever any of the organ or any of the viscera is given, it is very important to mention the histology at the end, as well as the clinical anatomy. So first histology and then clinical anatomy. So histology, these are the layers which are present in the esophagus. So first is tunica mucosa, then is mucolaris mucosa, there is submucosa, and then it is muscularis mucosa. So what is tunica mucosa? It is the outermost layer. Here's the diagram present. See. So the first outermost layer which is present is known as the tunica mucosa. It is made up of stratified squamous epithelium, keratinized epithelium. Okay. See, this outer layer is known as the primary or the outer layer, which is known as tunica mucosa. It contains what? Mucosa. Mucosa means mucus gland. So it contains mucus glands to lubricate the surface of the lamina propria, which contains of the loose connective tissues with papillae. Second layer is muscularis layer. This is the lamina propria layer. So in order to lubricate the lamina propria, this is the tunica mucosal layer which is present above it. Below it is the muscularis mucosa. So muscularis mucosa is the distinct lower part, and it is longitudinal. It has longitudinal muscle fibers which are present. Then comes below it is the submucosa. So it is important to note that all the esophagus glands are present in the muscularis mucosa layer. Okay, in the muscularis mucosa layer, all the esophageal glands are present. Along with that, in the submucosa region, mucus secreting esophageal glands are present. These are the mucus secreting esophageal glands, and this is the muscularis mucosa. Then, muscularis. Muscularis has two parts. Muscularis layer has two parts. One is interna, muscularis interna, and muscularis externa. The muscularis interna contains circular muscles, while muscularis externa contains longitudinal muscles. So these are the circular muscle layers. This entire layer is of the circular muscle layer, and this below layer is of longitudinal muscle layer, and the last layer is the adventitia. Okay, so muscularis has two layers, interna and externa. So the interna is known as the circular muscle, and externa is the longitudinal muscle. Then the last layer, that is tunica adventitia. It is a connective tissue with capillaries in the esophagus present in the cervical and thoracic region, and that is known as tunica adventitia. While in the abdominal region, it is called as tunica serosa. Okay, this is about the histology of esophagus. Now, next is about the clinical anatomy. Okay, so in clinical anatomy, first is esophageal varies. So, what is esophageal varies? Okay. So the esophageal varies. The portosystemic anastomosis in the lower part of the esophagus opens and forms venous dilations, and their rupture causes severe and dangerous hematemesis. What is hematemesis? Hemate yani ki blood, and emesis means vomiting. So whenever there is a kind of blood stains which are present in the vomit of a person, that is known as hematemesis. तो esophageal varies क्या होता है? It is a portosystemic anastomosis in the lower part of the abdomen, opens and forms venous dilation. So the anastomosis kind of gets separated out, which causes dilation, and because of which there is blood which comes out, and this blood then comes out in the form of vomiting, and hence it is known as hematemesis, which is seen as a sign over here. Then second is eclasia cardia. Eclasia cardia, due to neuromuscular incoordination, the lower part of esophagus does not dilates. So in this diagram, you can see that this is the healthy esophagus, and this is dilated. But over here, it has got constricted, because of which the food does not reaches into the stomach, and it starts accumulating over here itself. Then the lower part of the mainly proves to the regurgitation of acid from stomach, and it is the site for esophageal carcinoma. Then hiatal hernia. There is formation of herniation over here. This is the herniation which is seen. And then there is Barrett's epithelium. Barrett's epithelium is a kind of metaplagic cell injury, cell adaptation, wherein the squamous epithelium in the lower part of esophagus get replaced by the columnar cells, which are the mucus secreting cells. So this is the normal lower esophageal epithelium, but this is the Barrett's epithelium. And then the tracheo-esophageal fistula. At times, the separation of esophagus and trachea is not complete, and proximal ligament ends in a blind pouch. So these all are the clinical anatomy which are related to uh, esophagus, and it is important to end the answer of any of the viscera with this clinical anatomy. Thank you.